So a lot of what we've spoken about is the benefits of getting it right. And what we've seen with the models that are out there around contract lifecycle management at the moment, the benefits definitely outweigh the challenges. And that blue box on the left, a lot of what's come out today is high on people's agendas when it comes to challenges and I suppose reticence about getting into a full lifecycle contract management solution. So it's budget. First of all, will the cost reduction of a good CLM solution actually outweigh the tech licensing and implementation costs? Will it apply to my more complex products? Certainly complex financial products in the past have not traditionally been supported end to end through a full life cycle, as in-house legal teams and GCs have wanted their lawyers to have a hand on the more complex, higher risk and higher value contracts. And then a big one, and especially for global organizations, is the adoption and integration risks. So, we've heard from the breakout sessions is, do you go enterprise wide? If you do, you need the support right from the top. If you don't have that support, is it better to do an iterative POC, proof of concept, to prove that the CLM solution works? And then the implementation risks are also what hold people back sometimes, and it's really difficult with legacy systems to have integration, or it has been in the past, but certainly a lot of those integration lessons have been learned, and the ability to get over them has become easier with time. And then we've spoken about the right sourcing. So once you have a CLM system in place, how do you support it with the right level of resource? So, for your core contracts, the more complex, valuable contracts, you have a heavier hand on those in-house versus the non-core commoditized contracting work that you can outsource to manage legal service providers, so that you can get the full value of a good contract management solution. And then obviously it's the data management, and a lot of what Nick said is how to ensure that your CLM solution provides you with accurate contract data across the organization, and that the teams, the risk teams and the credit teams, for example, in financial institutions, are able to consume that data downstream so that its full value is realized. So moving across, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. These are the 4 pillars. It's not just team technology. It's also a team task and insights that are actually important for a CLM solution. So most CLM solutions for volume-driven contract services follow a similar sort of life stage and life cycle. So it's that combining the talent, the team, with and matching them to the tasks at the different stages of the life cycle, and having that supported by the right technology. So, having the right front door, whether the request is driven by a client action or a sale, or it's an internal business request, and making sure that your lawyers, your expensive in-house lawyers or external lawyers, aren't burdened with the administrative task of initiating a contract. It also, Rena's just mentioned the self-service capabilities that come with it. So right up front, if you can have that business self-serving to a large degree to produce the first draft, it takes a lot of time and admin away from your lawyers. And then having an effective triage and allocation process in your CLM is key, so that you're able to drive your contracts based on your risk profiles and the value of those contracts to different parts of your CLM. So the non-core going out to cost-effective resources versus your internal, your expensive in-house lawyers. And then obviously, producing the first draft, if there hasn't been a self-service element to it through auto generation capability, a lot of CLM platforms or solutions allow negotiation on the actual platform. I know a lot of counterparties and clients don't like that. They like to operate with email, so you can need to have that flexibility. But that draft through negotiation to approval to digital execution is what that means with a good CLM solution, is that your lawyers are only focused on the complex contracting issues, the escalation issues, and the legal risk issues, as opposed to having to administrate all the everything that comes before. And then obviously we've spoken about the post-execution obligations and the compliance. Now, there's a question from Christian about whether actually legal does that or is in charge of that or not, and whether it is or not, is it, as long as it's automated, it's all digitized, and it's part of the CLM process, it's less important as to who owns it, but the fact that the institution as a whole can manage those the compliance obligations that come post execution. Thanks. If we can move on to the next slide. So here, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the slide, but what we've noticed in the financial services sector, which is absolutely applicable to the corporate sector as well, is that there are more and more contract types of increasing complexity and increasing value being put through and supported by end-to-end contract lifecycle management solutions. So previously, complex derivative structured products and loan documentation were parts of it were supported by CLM, and just like the more complex commercial contracts were, but more and more there's a suitability based on the fact that you can have the right triage and risk matrices apply, so that no matter what the type of contract is, the complexity is sorted out through that allocation and triage. And then obviously, I'm not going to get into the automated intelligence that is hugely valuable to the entire organization so that you've got your data at your fingertips. And moving on to the next slide, this again is quite banking and finance focused. We talked about derivatives, structured products, loans, but equally applies to commercial contracts. And it really works well, a good CLM solution for your BAU and flow work. So, you know, it's developing the processes. So somebody in our breakout group mentioned you can't put the cart before the horse. So if you don't have the templates and the processes mapped properly, you know, bringing in a CLM solution before you've done that doesn't work. You then, you know, once you've got those processes down, bring in the right tech, combine that with, you know, managed legal service, right sourcing advantages. And that allows you to scale from, you know, virtual, fully managed and multi-skilled in-house team combinations to, you know, adding on the onshore and offshore contract drafting capability that, you know, teams review, negotiate, and provide a high quality service at an excellent value, because it's all housed within your CLM solution. A lot of these teams act as a direct extension. So you'll have a managed legal service team that works on your systems, on a platform, on your emails, and act as a managed extension of your team that you actually own. So you own the entire process, but the administrative strain is taken away from your in-house legal team. And then obviously the advantages of collaboration. So through your whole CLM ecosystem is to be able to then bring in, you know, and triage to partners like your panel lawyers where, you know, legal advice is needed. So the efficiency of having them, you know, your panel lawyers as part of the CLM solution, as well as your other legal vendors, is essential. So just moving on to the final slide. Well, the final slide when it comes to actual product, and this is not really a product, but certainly contract lifecycle management, when it's done well and you've got an end-to-end solution, can really help both in the corporate world and in the financial services world with regulatory change. So it does smooth the impact of the regulatory cycles that organizations go through, no matter what industry you're in. I mean, you know, a few of the waves are labeled there, but they all represent very significant contracting pain points. And not only if you have an end-to-end solution in place, does it help with your reg reform compliance, your reg reform projects, your reg reform repaperings, but if you haven't got a full end-to-end solution in place, reg reform is a really good testing ground. So, you know, if you've got a Brexit-related project and you've gone out to some of your legal service vendors, which include your managed legal service providers, your panel lawyers, they are often well equipped to bring a CLM solution to that particular reg reform project, you know, together with the team that they bring forward, the tech that they use, as well as how they attack the tasks of the reg reform repapering. And once you've experienced how successful or not that is, you can then use that as a model to build your enterprise-wide CLM solution, because you've actually tested it, you've been part of it, and you've managed to road test it to an extent that will give you confidence that you can take it forward and expand it.